So before I get to Bad Santa 2, I do want to touch on the original Bad Santa first. Now, I've watched both versions, the unrated and the director's cut. I watched this pretty close to when it came out, and I've watched it quite a few times. I must say, first of all, this is not as mean-spirited of a film as a lot of people make this out to be. Of course, it's mean-spirited with Billy Bob Thornton playing the character of Bad Santa that he does, but this movie is also loaded with charm. It's a favorite Christmas movie to watch if you want to get into, the raunchier, more adult side of Christmas movies and stuff. But I've always loved the the messages that are put in this film involving Bad Santa and Thurman Merman, the young kid. He's not on the cover, but also this film being a lot of the actors in this film's last roles, especially John Ritter, but also the excuse me, but also the late and great Bernie Mac as well. R.I.P. to him. And it's heartwarming. It's really well done in blending. I guess if you want to call it mean spirit, but blending dirty comedy and adult themes and mature themes with heartwarming Christmas messages with a totally negative, pessimistic, alcoholic, and drug addict. I'm pretty sure Santa Claus being taught life lessons in very bizarre ways by this completely antisocial outcast of a kid that literally has no hope in hell when it comes to somebody giving him a chance. He doesn't even have family to give him a chance. Living with, a pretty elderly grandmother who just basically fends for herself and doesn't really have the capability of raising a kid or anything like that. And then you get this duo that are totally opposites of each other, not just in personality, but in age and life experience, in problems. Like one is totally on the innocent side, and then the other one is totally this wild, destroyed man, and you combine them together, and it's it's a classic in the making, and that's really what it is. So this one just worked in so many ways. And because Bad Santa 2, which is what I'm going to be talking about in this review mostly, came out 13 years later, and that's never a good sign for sequels in the first place. Even when you get the returning cast like Billy Bob Thornton and is it Tony Cox? Yes, Tony Cox. I was blanking there for a second. Even with the returning cast, it's still kind of iffy, but I watched this for the first time last year, and I was not a fan of it. Not that I hated it, because it definitely had its moments, but I was not a fan overall of Bad Santa 2 whatsoever. I did like a lot of the performances. I liked Kathy Bates' performance. She was so over the top for the kind of actress that she is. Like, this is completely polar opposite of what she usually does and what kind of roles she usually plays. Like, I don't know if she was doing the people behind this film a favor by acting in it, or if she just really wanted to get out of her comfort zone, or if she was paid a lot. But it was interesting seeing her in this, to say the least. You got Christina Hendricks, who also plays a really funny character, the sweet and innocent woman who has a really raunchy side to her as well. And they kind of didn't utilize Billy Bob Thornton and Tony Cox the greatest. I mean, they were kind of shoehorned in because they're the stars of the show. Thurman Merman coming back was my least favorite by far. I thought they could have completely taken his character and role right out of the movie and just had Thornton and Tony Cox playing their characters of Marcus and Willie, and have the whole story go on, but leave Thurman out, because the way they treat him, the kid's 21 in this like his character's 21. I got to look up exactly how old the actor is when this film came out. But they still make him the immature idiot that he was as a child in the first film. Where it worked there, it just doesn't work in this one. He's a full-grown man who's acting almost like he's mentally challenged, like he's slow. Like that's how he came across, is that he's a slow kid. And it was not it wasn't funny, and it nothing about his character landed. It was just weird, and like I said, not funny. This Bad Santa 2 was written by two completely different people than Bad Santa 1, and it shows. Bad Santa, the original, had a lot of raunchy and kind of adult comedy, humor to it, and a lot of the humor made sense. A lot of the conversations made sense. Bad Santa 2 just cranks it right to 11 and is the raunchiest, sometimes uncomfortably dirty dialogue that you just hear some exchanges between people and you're like, oh my god, you went there. And Kathy Bates has a lot of those lines and a lot of those moments. But this is my second time watching this film, and I did like it better. Specifically, Thurman Merman, who I thought could be thrown away completely, and I still don't not agree with that. I mean, he could. The movie would still be great without him in it. There is a moment closer to the end of the film where he goes to ask Willie if Willie can come see him sing at a concert, a choir, because he just joined this choir band. And that exchange really shows another heartwarming side of this film that Bad Santa 1 touched on a lot. And I really like that scene specifically. So that kind of turned around Thurman's really pointlessly idiotic character a lot. But everything else with Thurman is just, like I said, it's weird. Him wanting to come to Chicago to chase down Willie, him saying that he wants Willie to pop his cherry because he has no idea what that means or what he's talking about at 21. Even as a sheltered kid with absolutely no family or friends or anybody around him except for Willie, the whole first film he was around Willie. I'm pretty sure he would learn a thing or two and not be that antisocial, spending a 13-year gap between parts 1 and 2, like you know and it's just stuff like that. Kathy Bates, like I said, she delivers in spades for what she was asked to do. Just coughing now just thinking about it. But yeah, like the scenes in the bar where what does she say at that bar scene? She's like something really raunchy. She's like, I could still fill this shot glass with this young guy's jizz or something like that. There's a scene too where they mention a word I had never even heard of. I wrote it down. Fletching or felching, flouting. Watch the movie and they'll explain exactly what that is. Never heard about it. Sounds horrendous. Yeah. But story-wise, you have... It starts off with Willie obviously trying to commit suicide again, and then being saved by Thurman. And Thurman walks into the apartment and doesn't even acknowledge or know what Willie's doing to himself, so that's weird. I love the note that Willie leaves behind though. He's like, donate all my organs to science, and he spells science wrong on the piece of paper, and then he says, accept my dick, just leave that in my hand. And then he sticks his head in an oven because he, I guess, wants to roast his head, and that's how he wants to commit suicide. Like, think of a less painful way, I guess. I don't know. But then he runs into Tony Cox again, and it's kind of a lame excuse to bring them back together, because in the last film Tony Cox, tried to murder Willie, and I'm probably, like a lot of audience members, also saying the same thing. Like, why in the hell would Willie want to work with this guy again? But they do. And then they find this job in Chicago, but this time they're attacking a charity, which apparently has $2 million to steal, and they begin to work with Kathy Bates' character, who plays Billy Bob, or Willie, played by Billy Bob Thornton's mother. And introducing a mother character, I think, was clever, and especially how they designed her, because you have Willie, this raunchy, dirty guy, and then you have his mother, who's even raunchier and dirtier, and that really makes kind of or made kind of a comical bond and banter between those two. So they did that well. Christina Hendricks' character was kind of meh. She was all right. She wasn't bad. She wasn't awesome. She was just there. She was hot. She was dirty when she needed to be, and that was kind of sexy. But they could have done more with her, kind of, I would say. And when the humor hit, the humor really did hit, and it's not it's not a wasted opportunity of a film. It's just a film that doesn't necessarily need to exist. It's that last squeeze out of the tube, no pun intended, uh, um, of comedy that you would have in this, Bad Santa story. But the biggest thing I'm mixed about is the Thurman character and what they did with them. Like they could have made him a little more mature, and it would have made a little bit more sense given his age. That's how I feel about it anyway. Of course, Willie gets double crossed again at the end of this film by Marcus, and this time he has a gun with him, although it's filled with blanks, and he gets double crossed twice because the Kathy Bates character as his mother double crosses him as well. But I like the whole Santa Claus convention that they throw in at the end of the film. I love that girl, the larger girl, who's really really pretty for you know a heavier set girl. Really 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 pretty face. Pretty faces and bigger girls never have a problem with that ever. Um, but yeah, she was great, especially how high maintenance she was, and the confidence that just oozed out of her. Um, One of the best characters in this film, and her banter with Marcus's character and not liking him because of his height and all that, and her saying, "I've eaten lobster. I just ate lobsters tonight that were bigger than you," just hilarious. Her whole high maintenance thing was hilarious, and then the whole scene, obviously, with her and Willie in the washroom. Gotta love that. Um, but yeah, I think that pretty much roughly covers Bad Santa 2. Like I said, it's not um, a terrible film to continue a Bad Santa story, but there were things that could have been done better, and there were things that on this second watch I appreciated more. Like I said before, I would have cut off the character of Thurman completely. This one he fits into the story a little bit more. And just seeing Kathy Bates go as extreme as she does in this film is worth the whole watch entirely. It's not too long either. It's only an hour and a half, and it's a nice Christmas film, and I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad I caught it before December ended, and I love squeezing these extra Christmas films before December ends as well. I maybe should have done a full review on Bad Santa, the first one as well, but hey, why not combine them into one video? Bad Santa 2 is the one that I had only seen once and wanted to revisit and really get a fresh take on. Whereas Bad Santa 2 I've seen so much. I mean, I could talk about this film for like 45 minutes to an hour. Uh, Maybe next year. We'll see. Maybe maybe I'll revisit it again and both cuts or both versions and see, which one I like the best, or see what works on one and doesn't, or works better in the other, vice versa, whatever it may be. But Bad Santa 2, like I said, it grew better on me, and I certainly liked it this time around much better than the first time. So the thumbs down turned into one thumbs up, and I gave it a 2.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. Negative part though, I did not like the funny scene, or what was supposed to be funny on the really end of this film. How they decided to conclude it. they had this like photo album shot of just like The Hangover did. Although The Hangover succeeded fully with the camera pictures shot, this one tried to go kind of something similar, but just no. It no. There's a lot of over the top humor in this film that was just written maybe not to my taste. Maybe I'm on an island on that one. Maybe it just didn't work for me specifically. Maybe other people are going to find it absolutely hilarious and hysterical. Some of the things just they weren't like another comment that Marcus makes. He's talking about he wants to bang his this one guy's wife. He's like, "How about I stick my dick in your wife's pussy or something like that?" And then the guy's like, "Well, that's not gonna mean anything to me because my wife died 6 months ago," which is already dark in itself. And then he's like, "You think that's gonna stop me? Rigor mortis just makes the pussy tighter." And I'm like, really? A Christmas comedy? I love raunchy shit, but it has to fit, you know what I mean? It has to flow, it has to make sense, it has to not be cringy. This one falls on the cringy side. The Hangover falls on the genius side. Even the second movie, too. I wasn't a fan of the third, but like the first two Hangovers, the first one especially, is on the genius side. Hilarious, raunchy, dirty ass humor, okay? Not so much this one. Bad Santa 1, yes, it works. Bad Santa 2, works here and there, not all the time though. But that's all I got on that. I don't want to go too long on this one. But Bad Santa 2, go check it out. It's on Netflix right now. So subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice or if you like my film reviews. I'll be back with more. Check out the ones on the channel now. Been Christmas movies all of December. And there's lots more to come, so I'm not going anywhere. Subscribe if you're interested. Till next review, take care and cheers.